Okay. Hey, welcome everybody. This is Professor of Real Estate, and I got Jeremias Maneiro in the room today. He's an amazing person. He is the millennial who speaks from his heart and engages audience through energy, comedic performances, which I think you're definitely going to see here today. And he uses his real life stories, which I think is fascinating. I got to experience him. We were both presenting at Rapid a couple years ago, and I got to experience watching him do a training on YouTube while YouTube was running. I think it was YouTube, it might have been Facebook Live, but it was either way. He was not only training us live, but training video live at the same time, which was not only fun to watch, but it was absolutely hysterical. So welcome, Jeremiah. I know sometimes Jeremiah J. Man, I don't know which one you want, but however you want to go. Is there anything I forgot to exclaim about you that you'd like to make sure we know?
No, I'm just a guy who does videos. I'm just an ordinary person, and I think I am a real estate practitioner as well. But I was a speaker before I got into real estate, actually, and I do it because I love it, but also because I love helping people, adapt new technology. And really, it's about overcoming your fear. Like, I have people ask me, "What do I do?" I help you step outside your comfort zone and do new things. That's really what I do. There's so many speakers that talk about technology and video, and that's not me. Like, I'm going to really help you to overcome your fear and start doing it, because we need to stop paying lip service to it. 2021 is almost here. We need to just start doing some videos, folks. If you're not doing them yet, if you haven't been for the last 8 months, it might be time.
Well, and that brings up a great question. Obviously, I think with the last 6-8 months, we've seen video being used, right? I don't know if necessarily by desire, but by necessity.
Yeah.
So I would say the first question, the most logical question that I hear all the time is, I've been doing video. I've been a trainer for 25 years, and I've been doing video and technology since day one. I was that weird guy that was using old stream conferencing calls video, and people going, "Why do you have video? Just turn it off." I was that guy. So I like the video,
Right.
But my question to you is, what can you tell us? Why should we as real estate agents or even small business professionals care about doing video right now? Besides the obvious that that's the only choice we have.
Yeah, I think besides the obvious, and you have to see the opportunities where they lie. Like, so many of us were like, "Oh, I gotta do video now." Well, guess what? You have to do video. So why not be good at it? I mean, we're at our 8-month anniversary now of this pandemic where I'm from. And it's like, okay, the first month you had an excuse. Like, "Oh, I'm just starting." This is 8 months later. You don't have an excuse not to be good at something 8 months later, or at least good enough. But you should never be happy being good enough, right? If you're going to do something, do it well. And, I think as a business owner, as somebody who's in real estate, anybody who really, if you're in touch with human beings, video is the best way to demonstrate who you are, your personality, your expertise, everything that you are, and why people would want to work with you. It humanizes us, right? If you're watching me now for the first time, you're getting in the first couple minutes. This is me, dude. This is not my persona. This would be me if we're having coffee, like down the road or something like that, when we can see people, and we're either going to do business or we're not. But you can get that via video. And so I think it's just the best way to build your brand, stay top of mind, and let people know who you are in a short period of time. Because before video, we'd have to go around and be like, "Oh, here's my card. Nice to meet you." And, face it. We used to say, get belly to belly with as many people as possible. Well, now look at, I have touched tens of thousands of people in the last 8 months, virtually via video. Mm-hmm. That I thought about it because I had over 70 plus speaking engagements booked that went like this, like dominoes, like, and I thought I would have never been able to do that if I was in person, right? We go, we speak, there might be a couple hundred people, maybe 500-600 people tops, but not like virtual, because there might be a few hundred people live, and then it's recorded, and then people watch the playback. So there's a huge opportunity. Like, take it for what it is. Don't complain. Like, say, this is where we are. This is what we got to do. Now let's be the best at it.
Yeah, I agree. I think for me, video has been the easiest way to build that know, like, trust, right? I mean, one of the things, this will get put into a podcast, and I'm a big podcast advocate, because then we get to be in people's ears when we actually are driving around and in your house. Okay. The retention rate is huge. And the nice thing about video is I can convert it. Different conversation we'll talk about here in a little bit. But I think you get those mannerisms, right? You get the smile when it comes necessary. You get the energy. You'll get the quirkiness that comes out of the videos that you'll see. I would say I think you hit a huge point describing yourself. It has to be real and it has to be authentic, right? You see a lot of news hosts, you see a lot of celebrities, and they have a persona, right? And those are okay. But when you ever meet somebody in real life and they don't match that persona, you've lost credibility almost instantaneously.
Oh man, it's soul crushing. It's like looking behind the screen and finding out who the wizard is, right? You're like,
Right.
oh my God, you're not real. Like it is. And and I think it's the easiest thing you can be is to be authentic. But I think it's so challenging for so many of us because our whole lives, people have told us to be a certain way, to act a certain way. And I was telling this story this week during NAR, and it's like, I always got in trouble for having too much energy, for not being able to sit still, okay, for talking too much, and for being the class clown. Now, I make a living because of my energy, because I talk a lot, because I can't sit still, and because I'm funny, right? And so it's like, had somebody just encouraged, like, okay, here's your positive traits. Let's develop them because that's what you were born to do, rather than like, sit still, be quiet, sit. And I'm like, well, no, I don't want to do that. So I think it was finding what your strengths are and enhancing those rather than saying, man, I'm not funny, I need to be funnier. Look, there's a lot of people that do video that aren't funny. And sometimes not being funny is funny. Like they're dry, like, it's just.
Well, yeah. Again, to me, and that brings up I think the next question to this. Because I think what you just nailed is almost everyone's roadblock. I'll give you my brief story into video. And I've been training for a long time. I've been doing training video, but I have not done this for 3 years. I haven't done this for 3 years because I made up excuses, right?
Right.
I didn't, I had too much working. I had too much going on. I had too much of this, too much of that, right? It was always an excuse. I've been doing this now since March and it's working. Nothing's changed. I've just found ways to get time. The reality of it was I didn't do it because as soon as I got in front of this camera, I froze. And the reason I got in front of the camera and froze, well, probably not for me, not from the looks, because I already know understand where I look, and I've seen myself on video way too many times. But I just got gun shy. So the question that I will pose to you is really kind of twofold. How do we get past the I don't look right mantra? And then 2, I don't know what to say mantra, because those I think are the 2 biggest challenges we're going to find in this environment.
Yeah. So, I mean, my 2 favorite taglines are, number 1, it's how you look. Hashtag, it's how you look. All right. You meet people every day. Hopefully when you meet your clients and go, oh my God, oh, your face, holy cow, please. I can't look at it. What's going on? It's how you look. You meet people every day. And then, like, it's my shirt. You can't really see it, but it says, you can hear it on the radio. Get over yourself is what my shirt says.
Nice. I like that shirt.
And so it's kind of like through repetition, right? And they say, like, thoughts won't overcome fear, action will. And so it's like, let's take action. And it starts with the first one. The first one, you're going to be like, oh, you're sweating in your arm, and you're like, I don't like this. And you do it. You do the video, and maybe it sucks. Maybe, but it's your first one. And if it's your first one, then you're like, okay, all right, that wasn't that bad. Did I die? No, I didn't die. All right. So then you do another one, and you do another one, and you keep doing it. And after a while, like, it's all in your mind, right? There's fight or flight. So in your mind, if you're trained yourself, the self-preservation, going back to caveman days where it's like, I'm scared, run away. Right?
Fight or flight. Yep, absolutely.
Or I'm scared, and now you train yourself, let's fight. And so that's when it comes to video. Look, at every time before I go live, every single time, guys, and I've done tens of thousands of videos. Every time I'm like a little bit scared, and I'm like, oh, what am I going to talk about? And I'm like, F this. And I hit the live button, and because I've trained myself, once it starts kicking in, I'm like, fight or fight. Okay. I've trained myself in my mind to fight, which means move forward with a lot of energy towards what I want to do. Now, do I always say exactly what I'm supposed to or whatever I thought that I wanted to say? No. But that's okay because your audience never knows what you really wanted to say, right? They don't have a script like, okay, this is what Jeremias is saying today. Oh, he missed that sentence. He missed this sentence. And so it's just like through repetition, you know, you get used to being afraid. I guess that's because it'll never go away. And if it goes away, that means you don't care anymore. And maybe you should stop doing it.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with that, right? That energy doing this, you should always have that extra little energy. People will call it nerves. For me, it's excitement. At this point in time, I just get excited about doing this.
Right. Same thing, really. Nerves or excitement, right?
Exactly. And so I would say people, sometimes you got to really understand that what you're feeling isn't the nerves. You're translating it to nerves, but sometimes it's just extra energy that you've got to figure out how you're going to channel to being what you're doing. So channeling brings up to the next conversation. What do I say? You know, this is where I hear everybody struggle with all this stuff. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. And the reality is, from our perspective, is we all know what to say. We just get here and we go, I don't want to look like an idiot. I don't want to look bad. We just kind of talked about that. We just got to get over ourselves. But
right.
So getting past getting over yourselves, what do we say? How do we know what to say? What is going to be important from that category?
Well, I guess it's going to be different for everybody and what your business is. But I always like to, start with your 3 E's: education, experience, and expertise. Right? What do you educated on more than most people? Right? Because then that makes you a subject matter expert. What is your experience? Like, are you experienced in real estate? Are you experienced in home insurance, mortgages, title? Those are all things that you can talk about. And then expertise. Like, what do you know more about than anybody else when it comes to like your community, where you live, where you work? So much of what we do, if we're going to bring it back to real estate, is the lifestyle, right? I'm active. I try to stay fit. And so I know a lot about the parks and the trails and the outdoor activities in my area. I try to create content there. So do what you know, because then you can unconsciously be competent about it. Like, you can talk about it. You ask me about Seneca Park, I could say, oh, man, you take the red trail, you go straight down, you go down to the left. There's going to be a staircase. That's where the hidden waterfalls are. Okay, folks, but you might miss it because there's a tree there. I could tell you the whole thing because I go there. I go there all the time, right? Rather than saying, you know what, I want to be, and I almost made this mistake one year at NAR last year. I talked about blockchain and cryptocurrency, hyper in the making. And I'm like, what? How did I do this? And so then I had to become like an expert at this, which was like a trending and emerging topic. And I'm like, I didn't want to do it. I did it one time and it was good. And I'm like, I'm not going to do this ever again because I didn't like it. And it's not part of me. And that's also why I only speak on certain things. Like finding, they always say, the niches are in the riches, like, be an inch wide, but a mile deep.
Yeah.
Like, not just video, but Jeremias, man, he does more live video than anybody else. Right. And how do I do my live videos and streaming and all that? And so find out what you want to do and then really, really go deep into it and let them say, man, this person is the best in this area for this, whatever that might be.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's huge, right? I love the 3 E's. I've heard it before, but I'll be honest, I forgot that a long time ago.
Yeah.
It's education, expertise, and experience. I think that's the easiest thing to do. I think the other thing that you nailed on that I absolutely love is be true to yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of the problems that I had starting this is, okay, do I do it for real estate only? Do I do it for small business? Do I stay with tech? Do I make it personal development? How many, I go too far out and I'm going, okay, there's too many conversations. There's too many options. I don't know what to talk about, which I think is where a lot of us fail. It's like, okay, well, I need to give a market update. I need to talk about the businesses because this is all the classes I've taken. They told me I need to take this. I need to talk about this. I need to tell you how I'm feeling every day, right? Everybody goes, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to handle this. And for me, it should grow naturally, right? You watch most successful businesses. They started out with a product, right? They started out with something and that's what they focused on. And then they grew and then they added something. But the ones that succeed are always the one that stayed within the parameters of where their business model was. The ones that fail are the ones that go too far out. They were trying to encompass too many things. So learn from businesses and stick with your quote unquote one thing.
Well, and be consistent, right?
Right.
I think it's I was watching an interview with Kevin Hart the other day, and besides being like super hilarious, he was saying like true, somebody say, I'm grinding, bro. I'm grinding this out. Like real grinding is being consistent towards your goals when you don't see any results. Like,
Right.
and when it comes to video, like we can both attest to this. It's like, I'm going to keep making these videos. Somebody's going to watch them. Somebody someday. Right. And it's like, because we don't see, it's not like everything else. You go show a house, sell a house. There's a result. With video, it's more that marathon than it is a sprint. You got to be consistent over time. If you want to be a YouTuber, holy cow, you got to be doing stuff on a weekly basis and so strategic and so looking into the insights and all the rest of it. You think these, my son who's 10, he says he's going to be a famous YouTuber. He thinks like they just turn on the camera and go, okay, guys, welcome to your, we're playing a game. There's so much more on the back end and the analytics and the insights, and they're so strategic and intentional with everything that they do. And that's how you got to think.
Yeah. I'm glad you mentioned YouTube, because I loved the training that was done from NAR this year on YouTube, because I thought that was amazing. It was also very humbling, because I went, oh man, I got so much to do.
Right. And I'm good friends with Antoine Dupont, who did the YouTube class. And I'm like, even offline, I'm like, dude, this is really how I got to do it. He's like, yeah. I'm like, like hard work. He's like, no shit. No kidding, bro. That's what surprise is hard work sometimes, I'm like,
it was very humbling, because, the thing that we're going to talk about here in a second is micro content. Because, the thing that I love about this long form conversation is people that can listen to it now and they can listen to it and there's great. But there's going to be nuggets that we can pull out of this that we can use, right? And we can pull it down to biteable chunks. And that's where things sit today, is micro content. Whether we're a fan of it or not, I'm not a fan of it. I think this is better content, but maybe that just shows my age, right? I am an Xer. So maybe it just shows my intent. I'm an old guy. But micro content is what's going to happen. But that's where I thought, okay, I got to build this stuff. I got a micro content, but I'm watching Antoine talk and I'm going, oh my word. Okay, breathe. Like, it's possible.
What's work to do? Yeah.
And that's what I want to make sure everybody understands. I think video, just like everyone that I talk to believes the same thing. I talk with Marquis. I'm talking with Jeremias right now. It's videos where it's at. Content's going to be consumed this way for years beyond. There's no way of getting around that. But I will say this, my personal thing, and then we'll jump into the question here. Is the personal thing is this, and I'll see if you agree with this. I still think we can fail forward, right? I was saying it for 3 years. Do video now because you can fail forward. If you look bad, people are going to forgive you. I still think we got some leeway in that, but I think you got maybe 2-3 years before making mistakes or not having a professional production is going to not be expected, right? I mean, you look at these podcasts or these YouTubers, these influencers, they have a setup behind the screen that is, probably $5,000, right? Yeah. Well, you got the same thing. So, so let me talk to you about that real quick. Then we'll talk about micro content.
Yeah.
Can we still fail forward? Can we still make mistakes today? Do we still have that leeway? I think we do. I'm curious what your opinion is.
Yeah. I think so, because like it goes back to being authentic, right? I teach a lot of video classes, and there's some people like, hey, I'm introverted. Hey, I'm really scared to do video. We'll start with that. There's your first video. Like, hey, everybody, my name is John, and I'm scared to do video, but I'm doing it because I know it's important to connect with you guys, with my clients. So what kind of content can I create to help you be more informed, more knowledgeable on real estate? When you think about real estate, think about John, the realtor. Have a great day, right? Just from the heart. I'm being authentic. Like, dude, I'm, and when they do a video like that and they see like the support, like, oh, don't be scared. You're so great. Their parents are going to be on there. Their kids are going to be like, Mom, you did it. You're embarrassing me, but you did it. So it's like, it's so much worse in our head. So yeah, fail forward. Like, man, I release blooper reels every once in a while just to show people like, I prefer live because I don't have to do anything else after, right? It's like when somebody wants a promo for like a class or something, the bloopers and the F-bombs that happen from those, because we have to like, I can remember it was the Minneapolis Area Association of Realtors in conjunction with the Minnesota Mortgage Association bring you Connect 2019. 42 times it took me. 42 times, okay? Because it's when you're talking about like an organization, the name has to be right. It has to be pronunciated correctly. And so, yeah, long story short, yes, you can fail forward. It's not too late. Maybe you're late to the party, but you could still dance, right? You get there, like, hey, I just got here, but this party's bumping. Let's go. I could still get there late and dance. And, don't worry about what, don't compare yourself to me or to anybody else. Just know, like, okay, yesterday I did no video. Today I did one. Ahead of the game. Progress, not perfection. Right. And just keep focus on continuously improving. Like even me, I'm never happy. What I mean by that is like, like Eric Thomas, if you've heard of him, I'm sure, the ET, the hip hop preacher, they call him.
Yep.
He's like always hungry, never satisfied. And that's how I feel. People are like, man, your set's looking good. I'm like, it's good. I want to get better, right? And like, man, I'm going to get rid of these box lights and I'm going to get these LED lights and I can control my computer. And it'd be like, and they're like, what? But it's just in my mind. I'm always like, okay, next level, let's get better. I'm never going to sit back and go, yep, I'm good. Because there's somewhere somebody else is wanting to catch up to you, and you just got to continuously improve and be better.
Yeah, hungry, I think, is huge, right? I don't think you need to have the $1 million setup today, but I think you always want to have a goal to have the $1 million setup someday.
Something better, right? You got a flip phone, get a smartphone.
Right.
Right. It's just like,
well, flip phones are smartphones now, right?
Right. There is that flip phone that goes into the compact. That's a whole nother discussion.
That's a different conversation. Again, we can go down bad rabbit holes with those things. But so I would completely agree. I think you got to do that. I mean, I always look at that. I got green screens that I can set up. Unfortunately, I got to get a better computer. That's down the road. Because I was trying to do that for today, and my computer was making a huge whirring noise. I'm going, okay, that's not going to work very well.
It's right around April. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to get this program and this program. And I'm like, whoa, my MacBook Pro was good until I was trying to run Zoom, Prezi, PowerPoint, and Ecamm. And it was like really about to catch fire. I'm like, dang it. I never see that umbrella, but now I'm seeing the umbrella like it's working too hard. I'm like,
yeah.
I had to buy a new computer. That was my first equipment purchase. Yeah.
So live versus on demand, which one? I mean, obviously you talked about it and I would agree. I prefer the live because honestly, I agree with you. I think there's less work that has to get entailed. And for whatever reason, I don't pause as much. I don't as much. When I'm doing live, I'm just there. I'm in the moment and I'm talking with people. But let's talk about live versus on demand, because there's some people that are going to be extremely nervous going, some people are watching me. I can't screw up. It's going to make me nervous. Which one do you prefer? Or is there a one over the other in situational perspectives?
I do prefer live just because I'm always about how can I streamline my processes, because we are busy. And right. And like today, I did a live stream at 9:00. And then my wife and I went, she's a realtor too. We went to go look at a property to purchase at 10:00. And then I came back here and got ready to do this live at 11:00 my time. And then I'm going to do a 12:00 one with somebody else. And so it's like, if I had to pre-record all of those, now I'm tripling probably my time frames.
Right.
Easily triple, if I'm going to record a 30-minute broadcast and then, edit it and trim and add this and add that, because then you can really go into rabbit holes there where you're like, when does it end? When do I stop the production, post-production? Like, oh, I want to add this and I want to add this and I want to make it really cool. And I think live is better. And if you want to be better at live video, here's just, you wouldn't think of this, but Toastmasters, which helps you to be a better public speaker, will help you to be a better videographer, video influencer, or video producer, however you want to put that, because they make you think about what you're going to say in a speech format without the ums or ahs or okays or all rights or the filler words that we substitute when it's not. Yeah. So There's one speaker I know that he says, "Does that make sense?" And I sat in a 7.5 hour session of his, CE, and I'm like, "Bro, you said it 112 times." Because that's how I got through the day with my ADHD. I'm like, one tick mark. Tick mark. He's like, "I did." I'm like, "Yeah." Does that make sense to you? He's like,
Yeah, and that's good to know, because we all do have our ticks, right? We all have our ticks, and we need to try to improve those. So we're going to talk about tools and micro content. We'll kind of end this, and at the end, I'll let you kind of, well, not, I won't let you I will let you plug away. So let's talk about tools first, and then we'll talk about breaking this down to content if you think it's important or not. But so if I'm starting, what are the tools I should be looking at? How much money how much money do we need to be spending? Because again, I'm looking at some of these realtors, especially newbie realtors. They already just got done spending $1,000 to $2,000 and getting their starting costs. And I go, I haven't made a single money yet, and you want me to spend another $2,000 on video?
yes. Where do you get started? So when it comes to equipment, here's what I'll say. I have a list for you. And my session was on Messenger bots at NAR, so go back and watch it if you didn't see it. But you could send me the keyword or go to equipment.jmanseminars.com. It's going to auto reply back. My Messenger bot will auto reply back with my equipment list. It's going to have good, better, best, right? Budget option, what to move up to, pro level on each of my recommendations. It's going to have links on where to get it and what it costs. I would say where to start. Like, sound is just as important as the video. So I think, if you have AirPods, that's a great, if you have them already, boom. I mean, that's an immediate difference. If I switched over to my AirPods, you would see, well, if I started with my MacBook microphone, you would hear my fan running. You would hear all this other ambient noise. You'd be like, this is awful. And then the next step would probably be AirPods, which are pretty good. I like to use those when I'm doing like a CE, like a walk and talk, where I might walk over here and I might go, I have a whiteboard over here that I would switch to another camera. And so the AirPods are great. They're good enough. And then you might go to something like this, which is a cardioid. This is an Audio Technica mic, but the Blue Yetis, the new ones are fantastic because they have the choice. Okay. Yeah. They have the option to go cardioid or omnidirectional. And it's just that how the pattern that it hears. So if Justin and I were somewhere together and we could be not socially distant, we could take that omnidirectional mic and put it between us, and it's going to hear because it hears all the way around the microphone. You could see, like with a cardioid mic, the sound is heard right here. So if I move it like this, you could hear that you probably hear me not as loud now, right?
Correct.
And so that's why it's hard for me with my ADHD to like even stay in this one spot. If I was like, when I'm a virtual MC, sometimes I take this out of the stand and I hold it like a microphone, like I would normally at an event. And that's why I got this mic over the Blue Yeti, because the thing is too big and looks awkward, like carry around.
Hello, follow me.
Exactly. So it's like, that's why I have like this. I can just hold it. So your microphone would probably be your first significant up, but it's like a couple $100. $100. This is $125. This mic with I think it's $125 with the boom arm included. And part of that is like, do I need the boom arm? No, but it makes me look more legit, right? Like you're like this and like, oh, well, that guy's really a videographer. He got to.
Yeah, and with Amazon, those deals are almost irrecognizable. You spend $10 more to get the boom mic. It's almost
right, and it just looks cool, like you to people. And then I would say from there you might go green screen, and again that could be if I took my backdrop off. See if you would see that I have a green screen behind me. I'm not going to do it, but if I did, all it is, you can go get fabric. Go to Joanne Fabrics if you have something like that locally. You go in, just make sure it's a non-reflective fabric. Like I think the one I purchased online was $30. It was muslin, is MUSLIN is the fabric that they use. But then I went to Joanne Fabrics and I got a lime green, 4 square yards. So it's 3 feet by 12 feet by 4 feet. It cost me like $16. And then I just stapled it to the wall.
Yeah.
You guys get too like you overcome. I need the stand, and no, you don't. The stand actually brings it further from the wall and gives you less space. So like either get the fabric and staple it to the wall, simple. That'll cost you 30, 40 bucks, or just go to Sherwin-Williams and get chroma key green and paint the wall. If you're gonna have a dedicated studio space, paint a corner right in your office where that's your broadcasting corner. It could be 3 feet by 3 feet. So all in right now, what we've talked about,
130 roughly.
Yeah, 200 bucks, and you would have a substantial difference between you and somebody else that's creating content out there. Even when you're sitting, I like when I'm sitting in a Zoom, it's like I want people to go, holy cow, that background, that, and I'm like, oh yeah, you're setting yourself apart without even saying a word, right? We're networking in the hallway at NAR. People are like, dude, where'd you get that background? Oh, what's that QR code? How do you get your name on the screen? And I'm like, well, I could tell you, but it's just setting yourself apart, right? And then the last thing might be lighting. If you have good natural lighting at home, if you have windows, just point your face towards the window. That's one easy way to do it. Some people put their back to it, but point your face to it. But getting like the soft box lights, and I have this in the list, that'll cost you 40 bucks, 50 bucks for those lights.
Yeah, there's a nice, I use right now behind me is a nice selfie ring. It's a big one, 8-inch one.
Yep.
And it does enough for the lighting. Yeah,
here's mine. If I go like this, that's the difference. That's my selfie ring light off.
Yeah.
Right. And I think I caught that on Amazon Day for like 34 bucks.
Yeah, mine was 25. So yeah, I mean, and the thing is, now I didn't dawdle, to be honest with you. When I heard we were being locked down in March, I went online and I bought a lot of things that were cheap at that point in time that went up dramatically.
Oh, totally. They were all out of stock. You couldn't get them anywhere. But I think now they've replenished that stuff. So if you, again, it's equipment. We'll put a link in the comments. Yep. But
absolutely,
equipment.jmanseminars.com. It'll give you the whole list. And it kind of gives you like, Black Friday is coming up, Black Monday. You could see what deals you can find there as well. And just get started, right? Because now we're business planning for 2021. Then part of that is, okay, these are improvements. This is equipment for my business.
Yeah. And I think, actually it'd be nice little Christmas request, right? Ask somebody to give you a little Christmas gift. It would be great. So let's just kind of talk about this, because this is where the trend's going. You've got Instagram Reels, you've got, YouTube's got stories now, you've got Snapchat stories, you've got Twitter just added stories, right? All these people are doing this micro content. So again, I'm the old guy on the block. I like this version. I like having the conversations. I think they're always valuable, but a lot of us don't have that either time or attention span, ADHD, right? We don't have that ability to sit there for 30, 35 minutes. How much does this really matter? Or can I reutilize the content and make micro content out of it?
Oh yeah, I mean, absolutely. So right now what I'm doing is, now that you said that, I'm like, dang, I haven't posted to my story in a little while. So I'm kind of just do this quick and then add it to my Instagram stories. If you guys are watching this and you think stories are useful, just reply. Okay, then I have that on my story, and I'll post that in a second, and I'll tag you in it. So I think you have to pick your story. I love micro content because it's the behind the scene look, right? The only place you're going to find my story is on Instagram. I started using it there first. Could I get more exposure on Facebook? Probably, but I just don't like it.
Sure.
I just don't like, I produce other content on Facebook, but it all goes to Instagram, and that's the only place. I always tell people, what's the reason why when Netflix increased their membership by $3, you didn't cancel? And it's like, well, they have content that nobody else does. Well, that's why somebody's going to tune into your story on a certain platform. If it's only on that platform, if I can go to Twitter and see your same story, and LinkedIn see your same story, and Snapchat see the same story, Instagram same story, Facebook same story, then I'm just going to stay on the platform where I'm at. I don't have to tune in at all. And it's the best way to stay top of mind, because if you follow me now, you'll see, like, I post to my story maybe 10 times a day. And really it's just little moments. Like when I wake up, I get this hashtag called I didn't create it, but it's called Win the Wake Up, right? And it's a way for me to be held accountable. Me and a couple running friends. I win the wake up. I'm up at 4:30. I take a selfie with my hair like this, glasses, with the time, because you can timestamp your posts. Win the wake up. I did it because I wouldn't ask you to win the wake up if I wasn't, modeling the behavior that I always talk about. And so then I do that, and then maybe I'm out running because fitness is important to me, and then I'll do some of that. And then I start my day, and then I'm doing a broadcast with you. Boom, 15 seconds there. It's so easy to create. It's just what you're doing when you're doing it. I mean, it's so simple. It's the best way for people to really, because then I'll see people and they'll go, I'll see you at the man, Jay, the kids, man, that video with you and the kids, and they're singing like it's going to be a good day or whatever we did this morning. That was awesome. And it helps them to see me as a person rather than a figure. Because sometimes people think, we're in real estate, HGTV does an awful job, let's say it, at glamorizing what we do. Like we're these really hot shot, making millions of dollars with our expensive cars and like, look, we're just people. We're humans with families that do things every day, just like you. And I think the micro content, don't sleep on it. You have to post to it on a regular basis. Sundays, you may not see too much unless the Bills, maybe there might be some Buffalo Bills posts in there because we're doing stuff this year. But it's the behind the scenes and doing what you love. It won't be anything about real estate. It's not. It's just about me and who I am. And that's how you really get to know people on a personal level as a human being.
That's interesting. I'm going to try that. I haven't done that yet. Everything I've done has been very intentional from the business. It's always been from a give, right? I'm very much a Gary Vaynerchuk fan. Jab, jab, right hook. I'm a very big fan of that. Always do the give.
Right.
But I haven't, but it's always been business related, right? Here, let me help you this. Let me help you that. Let me help you that way. I think that's interesting. I might have to try doing that.
You follow somebody, you watch something on their story, and then like social media is about having conversations, right? And so you're doing something. I go, oh man, that's great. You guys are giving away hams for Thanksgiving. You comment on their story, it automatically goes into the DM, and now you're having a conversation. Where if you comment on their post, it stays on the feed, and maybe they reply, maybe they don't, depending on how it's tagged. Like I'm going to tag, you're going to have something to repost to your story now because I'm going to tag you.
I love that. Yeah, I'm going to have to either have you come back in or bring some of you recommend from an Instagram, because I'll be honest with you. I'm a Facebook guy. I'm a YouTube guy. I love YouTube because YouTube, I think, has the best search algorithm out there. So I do understand. Not the way Antoinette understands it, but I am a huge YouTube guy. So I haven't delved much into Instagram. Again, maybe I'm the old guy that doesn't understand it. Who knows? But I got to get into it more because it's definitely where things are at. And I know that's where a lot of eyeballs are today.
Well, and I think don't get caught up. People always get caught up in what I call the vanity metrics, right? Because they're like, I've got 25,000 followers. And I'm like, I don't care. I see your posts and one person likes it. So how was the purchase of those followers? How did that, it's really, because there's people that do that. There's the robots. You talk about all that. Like, I'd rather, like, sure, there's tricks to grow a following, but grow a following of engaged people, right? Raving fans. I'd rather have, I only have like 2,500 people on my Instagram, but those are people that are dialed in, right? There's only like 100 people that are watching my stories every day, but those are super raving fans.
Yep.
Right. When I see them, they're like, J-Man, I'm like, what up? Because I know, because you on the insights, I know who's watching my stuff all the time.
Yeah, no, yeah. And I think that's always huge. And that's true no matter what we do in small business, real estate specifically, but nothing that never changes any of that stuff, right? The raving fans are always going to be your best business, either from them directly or from who they send to you, which is always where you want to go. So the raving fans are important, and it's not the quantity of raving fans, it's the quality.
Right.
So we're at that time, and I do know you have other amazing pressing things going on. I'm not the only person you're talking to today. So did we miss anything? Anything that you went, oh, Justin, we need to talk about? Anything that you see that was kind of missed in that regards? Otherwise, if not, this is your opportunity to bring people to you and have that, plug away, essentially.
Oh man, look at that. Just popped right up, folks. That's amazing. Talk about video and how that works. Hold on, let me go right here. So this is called a QR code. You guys remember when those were cool and they were all the rage until they weren't? So I'm using this to send you to my link tree, and I'll post my link tree in the comments as well. But you just take your phone out, open up the camera, scan that, and it's going to take you to my link tree. We can connect anywhere on social media there, as well as, this is a good NAR networking tip. I was in the hallway. They had a hallway Zoom for you guys to understand what we're talking about. And somebody's like, you don't have a VR card, a virtual card on your link tree. And I'm like, well, no, why would I do that? Because we're connecting on all the social media stuff. And it was a generational difference. So I said, okay, it's not what I want. It's what my client would want in this person and in this way. And it was a client. So I added the virtual card. So you can go there, you can click on that, you can download that. Now you save it to your phone. You have somebody who wants real estate in Rochester, New York, or you want, training on video, or you just want, I'm one of those guys. You reach out, I'm going to reply and give you my advice. Okay. Candid advice, not what you want to hear. Okay. If you're like, Jay, check out this video, what do you think? I'm going to give you my feedback on how to improve, and because we can always be better. Nobody's perfect. So reach out. I'm glad to help. Justin, thank you for having me.
Thanks, Jeremiah. I really appreciate it. This was a lot of fun, and as energetic as I expected it to be. So that was awesome.
Thank you, sir.
You have a good day, and we will chat soon. Thanks all for being there. I love it.